everybody. I'm Paul.
I'm Jan.
And welcome to Shadow-Caste. We've got one of those, something to think about, but isn't going to change the world or anything, videos for you today. And, I think it's you know what? This idea of detox in general is something that we all really need, and I hope everybody does regularly. Hard to do, and if you've never done it before, I know it can sound like some new age hippy dippy shit, but man, I've done it a bunch of times now, and Jan, you're sort of like the master of this. Actually, this is why I picked the video because I was like, you know what, this is something that I've learned so much from you about how to cleanse and take care of your body, and the fasting that you do is sort of deserves really its own episode. But this detox video I think is...
And coffee enemas, should we do an episode on that?
With no video footage.
Step by step,
yeah.
How to do this at home.
Maybe, I don't know, get some models in to do the... That crosses the line?
No, we'll do an AI-generated video.
Yeah.
That's how we'll do it.
That's it.
Okay.
Hey, I would like to purify your body and
having fun too.
Yeah, because something I think it's one of the great lessons on this video that I have at least the takeaway that I hope you will too is all things in moderation, and remember that the best thing you can do for your health is always to enjoy your life and to just and laugh and have fun.
True.
And there's a time to think about things seriously, man, but you can't carry that cross 24/7, and you've got to be able to find a space that lets you just enjoy a glass of wine with your friend and
have a good time.
And our new friends, and see you guys.
Yeah, welcome.
Welcome.
Ciao. I said ciao. Cheers. That's what I meant.
I thought you knew something I didn't. So maybe this video, I'm watching some clips from Tim Ferris, and I was talking to Jan, she said, I don't really know who he is. So he kind of came onto the public scene because he wrote a book called The 4-Hour Workweek. And it was like a little marketing genius.
That has some appeal, yeah.
Yeah, it was marketing genius. Tim, you did a great job.
Did he deliver?
Yeah, I mean, it was like start a business that you don't have to work. And look what I did. I started this vitamin company and
I started this podcast.
And now I don't work. And, I dig that. I get that. And one of the smartest guys I ever met, his name was Terry. He owned a chain of steakhouses inside Amtrak stations. And I'm sure he busted his ass for a bunch of years. But when I met him, he was already a super genius. And he had sold the restaurants, but retained the rights to the steak sauce. And then sold the steak sauce to the restaurants, but then also sold it to grocery stores around America, and everybody could recognize it as the premium steak sauce because it was coming from Terry's barbecue places that hundreds, thousands, millions of people had eaten at all around America. So Terry's work once a month, I beg your pardon, was he'd get a phone call from the sales firm and say, we sold, 700,000 bottles of steak sauce, and then he'd call his commercial kitchen and say, I need you to make 750,000 bottles of steak sauce, put his phone down, and he was done for another month.
But why did he even need to do that?
Because he's just
he can automate that. He just wanted to have his
his
finger on the pulse.
So yeah, he worked, 20 minutes a month, and he was making a killing, But it took him how many years to get there?
There's the build-up, yeah.
And so I think Tim had a little bit of that going on, but really he just was great at marketing the philosophy of, and I think, I don't know, watching his video, this is the first time I've seen a video of him in some time. I think he's a little bit of a workaholic. I think he doesn't really know how to have a good time and relax.
Tim Ferris, the 4-hour work week guy,
right?
is a workaholic.
Oh yeah, dude.
That's false advertising.
Tim, man,
That's false advertising.
Chill, dude, chill. And I think one of those things.
He looks pretty intense, yeah.
Well, in the 4-hour work week, even then, he was like, I am in Brazil and I'm learning how to become a master tango dancer, and now I've gone to Japan and I'm going to learn how to be a black belt in Haikido. And he was like, I got my free time and I don't have to work, and now I'm going to become the greatest tango dancer of all times, and now I'm going to become the great black belt.
Ambitious in his free time.
So it's like, like, dude, like, who are you fucking trying to impress? You know what I mean? Like yourself? Like, who? And it just seems like through years of this sort of life philosophy, it seems to me, I don't know, you'll see, but it seems to me like he's on 100% burnout, and that he's just like so addicted to whatever overachievement that he's got that it just seems like it just has consumed him. But anyway, he's decided to go on a detox, and it's, if I can recall correctly, no caffeine, no sex, nothing
sugar.
that tastes,
Sweet.
not just sugar, but nothing that tastes sweet. So he won't even eat a sweet potato during this thing because it tastes sweet.
And in the video, he's already done it, right?
Right, and he won't use toothpaste to brush his teeth because it tastes
There's sorbitol
sweet.
in there. Yeah.
He doesn't want any sweet taste in it. And this is, he says, in an effort to try and find his baseline. So let's watch the first one just so we get a little taste of it.
Caffeine, anything caffeinated, which was the
Cold
first
turkey?
cold turkey, which was the first time I've done that. Probably, I would have to imagine, since I was 16.
Well,
I mean, it's been forever.
Let me ask you a question here.
Yeah.
Why would you do that cold turkey? Why not just do like, oh, I have a cup of coffee today, and then maybe a quarter cup a few days later? Like, why go? This is like the extreme Tim.
Well,
did you get headaches?
It's
you must have gotten
extreme.
something.
Yeah, I got headaches, but it was during a period where I could.
But you had
accept-
Vicodin, so you were fine.
No, I didn't use Vicodin. I knew that I could accept the headaches, and I had a period of time where there really was a low cost, where like professionally, I was taking 3 to 4 weeks off the grid, and I knew that I had a grace period where I could sustain it. So I did effectively no caffeine, no alcohol, and I suppose the most important other item.
No sex.
No sex, no ejaculation, which is, we can talk about that, but that's pretty easy.
Well,
Depends on who you're talking to, I guess.
So the first thing I think that's kind of cute is that to Tim this seems like a big deal, and he's sort of got his life planned around how he's gonna do without coffee and ejaculation, not just sex, but you know what I'm wondering there, was that a little tricky to play words, like he was having sex but he just wasn't ejaculating, or was he just no sex and no ejaculation, like he's trying to say he doesn't masturbate, he didn't ejaculate, but like for me,
He's
like
doing penetration, but no.
yeah, because
orgasm.
I don't know, we don't probably often talk about this, but maybe you know already, Jan, is that I'm a person who doesn't believe in ejaculation. I think that ejaculation is like
It's not a theory to believe in.
I don't think it's good for you. I don't think that most guys that I know, friends, they all want to ejaculate, and that seems like there's the mission for them,
Sure.
And for me, it means like my gun went off accidentally, and now I'm a bullet short. So yeah, to me, it's not a great thing because I've reached. Obviously, I hit my.
That guy's one bullet short of a round.
Yeah.
Of a
Because
barrel.
you hit that pleasure peak, and you couldn't overcome the threshold, and so you ejaculate.
Well, these are tantric ideals, and
Yeah, you think so?
yeah, to be able to control and not
Yeah.
use up your energy in that way.
So, like, anyway, I could say, oh yeah, I took a sabbatical for the last 10 years. I haven't ejaculated. I mean,
Yeah,
not-
it's interesting
not-
the way he phrased it. I didn't pick up on that the first time, but you might be right.
Yeah, something fishy about that. And other than that, he's giving up alcohol and coffee. I mean,
And
is that a
sweet
detox?
and sweet things.
Oh yeah, and sweet things. I mean, I don't know. From my point of view, that's not really a detox. Like, that's you giving up a couple of things, like somebody does for Lent, right? I mean, a detox, from my view, is you're going to try to clean out
Get the toxins
all
out
the
of your body.
toxins out of your body. Like, you're going to take some sort of. Not only are you going to stop ingesting these things, but you're going to start ingesting something that's going to help clean your body out. Like I know everybody that does fasts will do psyllium husks, for example, right, to try to clean out all your intestines and to try to make sure that you're doing. And I will enlighten us, because this is really your bag.
Well, I mean, there are people who are better experts than me, but I do get your point that he's just stopping ingesting these potentially called toxins, and he's not doing anything to get what the toxins in his body are out.
To detoxify.
So there's lots of different ways of doing bowel cleanses and full cleanses of the entire gastrointestinal tract. I mean, most of the bowel cleanses are just the lower intestine. This would be the small intestine as well, to do the entire GI tract. I'm a huge fan of the coffee enema. It's a liver cleanse, and most people's liver have not been cleansed their entire life. So think about, if you own a car, you go every 6 weeks or 2 months and change the filter.
God, I forgot all about this.
You change the filter. We can't change our filter, but we can clean it. So when I first heard about the coffee enema, I was like, oh, what is this? I'm so fucking sick of hearing people talk about the coffee enema. What is this shit? I'm going to try it. Finally, it took me years before I finally tried one. And then I went, oh, that's what they're talking about. This shit's amazing. I feel amazing.
And do you get the caffeine? You get the jack up on the caffeine?
It's not the same jack up like you would drink a cup of coffee. So basically it's not really a coffee enema, it's a coffee implant. So you take anywhere from 2 cups to a liter of coffee, and you put it up your rectum, and that's the part that scares people the most. But they've got nice smooth things that you can do it. You can do it in the shower, so it's clean and everything. You lay on your right side, because your liver's on your right side, for 20 minutes to, sometimes I'll take a nap. Mm-hmm. And then you get up and you poop it out. And ideally you've had a good bowel movement that day, so it's not like to clean your bowels of the fecal matter, it's to clean your liver, because there's a hepatic vein that goes from the rectum directly to the liver.
Oh, well,
and so it stimulates the liver to dump what it's got.
Oh, nice.
It was part of the Gerson therapy, where they cured cancer back in the day with coffee enemas and vegetable juices. Nowadays we have so much more toxic toxins that we're exposed to that alone won't cure you of cancer, but it's a good add-on. But I'm telling you, you feel amazing. You feel alert, like if you're hungover, or if you're feel like you're starting to get sick, or if you've just been eating a bunch of crap food or whatever, or you've just never done it. It's an amazing way to keep your liver maintained.
Yeah.
And feel good. And I do one once a week.
Oh, is that right?
Yep.
Wow. Well, what I had
It'll take away pain too.
Oh yeah. I've had a lot of experience with colonics, and so I did a lot of colonics, but it was always just some sort of purified water. It was never coffee. And man, they have the machine. I don't know if you guys have ever seen one, but it's got a little light tube. It's the strangest thing to think about, but they have this glass tube with light that's lit up, so you can watch all the stuff that leaves your body. And
if you dare.
And like the first time I was like, I don't want to watch why would I want to watch my shit go by?
See if you're getting your money's worth.
And But man, I'll tell you what, after I did a series of them in the midst of doing this 14-day cleanse and fast where you had to take a fuck ton of cayenne pepper. No, not sure why, but
With the lemonade one?
oh,
Yeah. Master cleanse, they call that
Jesus Louise. I mean,
one. Cayenne pepper is really great for the circulation.
that was killer. It was a killer.
Yeah.
But it was amazing how you went through this sort of like, like the first 2 days, the first day of being hungry, I was just like, oh, I fucking hate this. And then day 2 and 3, I was like, wow, like I'm so alert and so I love where I am right now mentally and clarity, energetically. And then day 5, I was just like on the fucking ground again, like in dying for some food. And then by end of 6, I was again just in this like fantastic place where I was like, man, I'm so clear, so aware of what I am, and in the midst of this, we were doing a colonic every day to just help out do the clean out, and wow, by day 3, I was like my new favorite television show was that little fucking glass. See what was coming out, because it was amazing. I was like,
What's on episode 7?
yeah, it's like, man, oh man, I've been carrying all this stuff in my body and unaware of all of this buildup in my intestines. So yeah, so I was kind of excited when I found this video. I was like, oh, like I'd like to see how other people are doing, and kind of try to get some inspiration. But instead I was like,
You were underwhelmed?
I was like, what the fuck? I mean, I don't know. You tell me. Let's watch clip 2 and see what you think.
The harder one is I did nothing sweet. So not just containing sugar, but nothing sweet. So anything that has an artificial sweetener was out.
Would you consider this tequila sweet?
I would not consider this tequila sweet. And there is a bit of subjectivity for a lot of it.
It has sweet notes to it. Like it's not.
Yeah, it's got some floral notes to it. But by the kind of letter of the law, I wouldn't consider this subjectively to be sweet. But for instance, any kind of juice, out. Any type of sweetener, of course, out. Let's just say different types of plantains. If they are sweet to the taste, they're out. Sweet potatoes, out. And
was that hard for you? That's not hard for me.
It doesn't seem hard, but let's just extend this. Almost every toothpaste has sorbitol or some kind of crap in it that is a sweetener.
So no brushing your teeth for 2 weeks.
I brush my teeth with sodium bicarb, just baking soda.
You're a legend in your own mind, Tim. I mean, look, I don't mean to make this a Tim Ferris roast, but like, because in general, I think he seems innocent enough or harmless, or he just like abused as a child and had parents that expected too much from him, and like he's been forced into the life of an overachiever or something. But like, how are you living day to day where you think giving up sweet things and coffee is
But
worthy?
sugar is an addictive drug, and a lot of people I don't think would ever want to give up coffee.
Yeah, I know, I get it, but I'm saying like,
Yeah, it's not as big as it sounds, but
meanwhile,
but for those people who are super addicted, it is.
no, I mean, look, I have coffee every day, and grow coffee, and because we live in Ecuador, and yeah, it's great
I
stuff.
gave up coffee for 10 years.
Yeah?
And it was because I was doing a form of hands-on healing that came from Slovenia that was really amazing. And one of the things the guy said in the training was that coffee disables your immune system for 8 hours. I've never heard anybody else say that, but at the time I really was into the method and I kind of believed him.
You went with it.
And I went with
You're
it,
like, all right.
and I gave it up, and I at first thought, how am I going to get up in the morning? How am I going to feel alert and all that kind of stuff? And you just get over it, I drank tea and other things, but I cut out caffeine completely, and I didn't really miss it.
I think let's watch the next clip because this is exactly what he's talking
But
about.
I love it now.
But the caffeine was an amazing experience. Now, I alluded to this a little bit earlier. I'm back on the sauce over the last week and a half, which I regret, number one, and I'm paying a lot for. Like, there are costs. I can explain.
Sleep?
So let me back up, and I'll just give you the punchline.
Tell us why you did this to begin with, because you didn't mention that. Like, there wasn't a New Year's resolution. Why?
Yeah, so the reason I did, it started because I was in South America doing a bunch of weird stuff, and there were restrictions, and then I just extended everything.
By weird stuff, let's psychedelic stuff.
Yeah, psychedelics.
Okay,
which will tie into a part of my strange story later, but I hadn't done the type of training I was doing in South America in probably 5 or 6 years. And so I took restrictions very seriously. I think that is important, in my opinion. And then I extended them all. And I wanted...
He's so cute. I mean, isn't that just adorable? I mean, I don't know.
So he was doing ayahuasca and stuff in the jungle in South America?
Yeah, like, I know, but, like, I don't know. I mean... Do you have you done a lot of hallucinogens in your life?
Yeah. And I know what he's talking about because I did ayahuasca in the jungle for 12 days with some grandmother and grandfather shamans that had like 60 years experience apiece. And their requirement, a strong recommendation, was that you do this special diet 2 weeks before and 2 weeks after. And I was on a vacation, so the 2 weeks after was really hard because I'd go to restaurants and I couldn't eat almost anything. But no oils, no. You could eat fish, but it had to be a vegetarian fish. No sugars, no salt. The salt was the hardest part. Talk about a hard thing to give up. But yeah, I get it. It's tough, but there are times when it's necessary and beneficial for, some higher purpose.
Especially with ayahuasca, right? Because
you want it. Well, a lot of people come and one of the things I saw was that people didn't always get what they wanted. They wanted to get like the hallucinations and the visions and the voice from God and the colors and the whole deal. And very few people got that. Most people got the physical detox, and so they were throwing up and have diarrhea for the whole 12 days because their body was what needed the attention the most. Other people had the emotional cleanse because their emotions are what needed to be clear. So they're like crying off in the woods for, the whole time. And then the people who probably had those other two things already taken care of are the ones that got the visions and the voice from God.
Yeah, except you had to fucking listen to all that shit going on. That's what I think about these group ayahuasca ceremonies, man. Like, what the fuck?
These shamans were by the book, and so they told you, if you feel like singing, don't. If you feel like talking, don't. And then the people who had the crying thing, whatever, they'd take them off into the woods away from the, you could still hear them off in the distance, but it wasn't there like distracting you from where you would naturally go in your journey.
Yeah. No, I've been on a couple of group things like that, and I definitely prefer just my own fucking experience without the circus in town. Always a much more pleasant experience for me. But I think when Tim's talking about his what's it called? His weird shit. He was doing some weird shit in the jungle. I mean, I think in some way, maybe that paints the best picture of Tim so far is like do some more of that weird shit, Tim, and like love yourself, man, and like accept yourself. Like, don't do anything for a month and think it's okay because you're just a dude, right? So you're not fucking Superman.
Wow, that would be the ultimate detox, right? Detox from activity. Most people couldn't do that.
Yeah, take a chill pill, mate. So he goes and he does some ayahuasca, which I think is a wonderful thing. I think everybody should. Personally, prefer mushrooms. I think mushrooms are much, it's like
you just got to take
the
heroic dose, 5 grams.
Like I took peyote. I've taken peyote.
We're not giving medical advice, by the way.
Yeah, even though Jan is a doctor, medically qualified.
No, not. Disclaimer.
Oh, it's a joke, feds. Just fucking chill out. So, I think I've taken a bunch of different types of hallucinogens, and I'm not a big fan of the throwing up for 3 hours thing,
Right,
and,
right.
and like
Especially if it doesn't get you any place that maybe something else more pleasant
but
would.
this is like people with their bullshit stories. I mean, look, the reality at the end of the day is ayahuasca is another hallucinogen, and like it's not fucking pixie fairies, right? Like it's a hallucinogen, and you might say that there's something spiritual about all hallucinogens, and like they can connect you to something greater than yourself, and also to connect you
To yourself.
to yourself, right? And like, I mean, let's cheers to that one.
But yeah, if
To
you
connecting
can,
to
if you
yourself.
can, if you can eliminate the other unpleasantness, like I don't want to
Why
do
not?
peyote again. San Pedro, ayahuasca, those are all harsher, and
Yeah, but for good reason though. Like, but in defense of Mr. Ferris, I get that you should fast before you should cleanse before you go on an adventure like that,
And
because
that's true.
and also because you want yourself to be as clean as possible for something to permit nothing getting in the way of you having the most profound insight into yourself that you can, and like you were talking about, if you ate fucking McDonald's the day before, guess what? Like, you're gonna pay for it, man. You're gonna be sick, so sick, because your body's dealing with the fact that it's got toxins in it, rather than dealing with the fact that you've got mental.
And I think the purer you
emotional-
are, the more you're going to receive whatever messages you need to receive.
Yeah, but there's an interesting point, right? Which is, so many times people, like he was talking about, and you're talking about there, is like they didn't get the experience they wanted, right?
Right.
Because they
They
went
wanted
in
the
there.
big show.
They went in there thinking they were the director, and like apparently they left thinking they were the director too, and missed the entire plot. So I think that's going on. But let's watch this next clip, because we'll get into it a little bit deeper.
And I was very curious to reacquaint myself with what, like, the sort of pure baseline Tim is. And it turns out baseline Tim does really well. And
Why go back then? Why?
well,
You got hungover.
no, I didn't get hungover. I didn't get hungover.
Because it's
Yeah,
good after
well,
a hangover, a little bit of juice.
So I also, before I went to South America, I listened to an audiobook which was called, or is called, The Easy Way to Quit Caffeine. And that is an extension of a brand that started with smoking. I think it's the easy way to quit smoking. And I know people who have literally multiple people who've listened to this. They have their last cigarette and they're done and they stop. So it's a little hokey, but that made an impact on me as well.
I'll do that for January. I'm writing that down on my
Yeah,
list. January, no caffeine.
And now that I know I can do it, I'm definitely going to do it again. The reason that I got back on it, and this is, I'll actually add just a little bit of color.
I love the guy, the interviewer. I think he actually wrote down, like, oh, this is important
Detox
information
for
from
January.
Detox for January. I'm going to learn how to quit smoking cigarettes, how to detox from caffeine.
Sounds easy.
He's kind of a dweeb, but yeah, I think like in general, what do you make of this guy so far?
Tim?
Yeah. And his reference to himself in the third person,
Yeah,
fourth
I think
person.
he's kind of new to this topic, and he's making an effort. And I think we all start where we are, and
Yeah, maybe I'm being too hard on him.
maybe
I mean,
you have a tendency to do that.
I just
Good thing I'm around to keep you in shape.
yeah, but like, what really just tripped my switch is him saying, I discovered baseline Tim is pretty good. Like, do you ever talk about yourself like that? Yeah.
In the third person.
I said, oh, what's Tim's baseline?
Well,
what's
and-
Paul's baseline? Oh, you know what I found out?
And I
found out
don't
Paul's
necessarily
baseline's
agree
pretty
with that. I mean, it's true we don't need a lot of the things that we do, But I think I think the food is depleted and all that kind of stuff, and there's a certain amount of supplementation we need. Just because he did okay for a month doesn't mean he's going to be doing okay if he continued that for the rest of his life without taking, some iodine or some vitamin C or some things that magnesium, things that people
of course,
vitamin
missing
D.
from the minerals of food.
I mean, you can't just. It's kind of like people do, like, I went vegan for a month and I felt amazing, so now I'm going to do it for my entire life. There's certain deficiencies that
don't show up in the first month.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
you can't just make that conclusion so quickly.
But so help me out to see if it's just me being me or if you see the same thing. But doesn't he seem so high strung?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
at the same time, it's everything. With
But
this
we didn't
guy
see him when
is
he
like-
wasn't on coffee.
Yeah, but everything
back
with this
on
guy
coffee.
is like
This is coffee, Tim.
coffee, man. It's a little bean grows on a tree. Like, it's not a big deal.
It's a drug, though. It's a drug.
Well, it's got caffeine in it, but so does tea, right? Like,
Not
you
as
never-
much. Yeah.
yeah, but like, I know Irish people who drink. If you were to equate the amount of caffeine each of them were getting from your average Ecuadorian, who might have 2 cups of coffee a day, black, no sweetener, no milk, right? Because it's just beautiful coffee.
And yet they call it Cafe Americano instead of Ecuadoriano.
It's true. They do that.
It's kind of funny.
And then like everything with him seems like it's cold turkey. Right? Everything is like
He's
it's
an
a
intense guy, and I
100
think
miles an
he
hour or
thinks
0.
that if he doesn't do it intense, it doesn't count.
So so this is speaking to his injury of life, right? Like he's kind of injured.
Got to
in
like
some
make
way.
a big statement.
In order for him to feel validated, or I don't know. Tell us, Tim. Tell us. But I mean it. I'm not trying to pick on him. I'm saying like, dude, you got something going on. Like, I don't know. Let's keep watching.
Disrupts my sleep architecture.
Quality of sleep, yeah.
I wake up after 3 days, very little time, 3 days of drinking caffeine. I wake up and I have circles under my eyes, like dark circles.
Are you quantifying this in the sense of like, are you wearing an aura ring? Do you have any other data where you're looking at it?
I'm not currently capturing the data with an aura ring, but I have in the past.
Yeah.
I've seen what it looks like. So I know that's the case. I'm falling asleep. My
Yeah.
time in bed, if we're just looking at a clock, is
Yeah.
fine. But I'm waking up tired.
I hate that.
And then what do you want? You want another hit.
Of course.
You want more of the
First
sauce.
thing, a little juice.
And there's a lot to be said for it. This is not to completely knock coffee. Like, I don't think for the rest of my life I'm going to be caffeine free.
Yeah.
But now I have a better awareness of what my baseline looks like, so I can return to that.
This guy, I mean, he refers to coffee as the sauce.
I thought he was talking about booze when he talks about sauce.
He's talking about coffee.
Wow.
I mean,
Wow.
like, is your coffee different somehow?
Isn't that thing?
Yeah, like here where coffee is grown,
Sauce.
it's just a.
Well, he wants to add some importance to this word.
Yeah, and I guess it's just part of this thing where he feels like these are his, like, I don't know, it's just so strange. And he's like, well, if you drink coffee for 3 days and you wake up tired, stop drinking coffee, dude. Right? Like, don't we all have sort of food allergies? Like I am aware of things that I can eat. Like if I eat a bunch of white flour, oh Lord Almighty, I'm gonna be so bloated and I'm gonna be lethargic and like I don't have a big carb meal. So you just, how
If I drink cow's milk, even really good raw grass-fed cow's milk, I get tired.
right. Yeah, of course.
I had a 2-week period where it was like 8 o'clock. I am ready to go to sleep right now. And the only thing I had changed in my diet was milk. And as soon as I took that cow's milk out, goat milk doesn't do it to me. But if I took the cow's milk out, I got all my energy back.
Well, the molecular size for digestion, right, of
Yeah,
cow's milk versus
I mean,
goat's milk.
there's all that other
No.
stuff. But yeah.
We should get into it sometime. But like, but it's a great point, right? Which
Yeah.
is, you're saying,
And the dark circles under your eyes, a lot of naturopaths will tell you that's an allergy. And so, yeah, but I do see it in people who drink a lot of coffee. Now, obviously, not everybody gets that, but that person is probably allergic to coffee if they get those dark circles.
yeah,
under their eyes.
or you already are the kind of person who obsessively, compulsively thinks and thinks and thinks.
Or you
and
just need to
thinks.
put coffee in the other end.
Wrong side, dude.
Hey, your liver's
Stop
dirty.
drinking it, man. So,
Well, when I wasn't drinking coffee, but I was doing coffee enemas, people would say, "Oh, do you drink coffee?" And I say, "Yeah, I make a liter every morning, but I don't drink a single drop."
kinky. So, I think like if so, my solution was to eating white flour and this
Yeah,
a problem I have with it.
yeah.
I don't eat it that often, right? So like I
What a
don't
shame for a guy that makes such a great pizza.
say, oh, I'm 100% gonna never eat.
And you lost a lot of weight by
Yeah,
not eating that stuff anymore.
yeah, and so Tim, maybe you could just stop drinking it. No, that'd solve his problem, right? But he's sort of addicted to it. I mean, let's hit this.
Sometimes we can
last
be
part.
psychologically addicted as well as physically.
Oh, that is it. Exactly it.
I will say on the opposite end, which is what I thought you were asking, how long does it take to develop a tolerance and experience with withdrawal symptoms? It is so fast.
Oh, so fast.
And
One day, if you go without
It's
coffee,
so
for
fast.
serious coffee drinkers will be headaches.
yeah, well, I would say furthermore, if you stop drinking coffee, and I'm using coffee as a bit of a scapegoat here, like I love coffee, but if you go without caffeine and then you get back on caffeine and you're on it for 2 or 3 days and then you stop again,
Mm-hmm.
my personal experience is you are going to feel withdrawal symptoms. And that is unlike most other drugs. It is a powerful, powerful, powerful drug.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm not recommending this, but hypothetically, if you were to like smoke cigarettes for a few days and then
Yeah.
stop, you're fine.
Yeah.
No problem. You're not going to have a headache the next day. But with caffeine, it is an incredibly powerful drug. And I think that's in part because it is often disrupting sleep architecture.
I just think that's just what a load of horse shit. I don't know. I just that
Which
whole
part?
thing. First of all, the fact that you talk about things like he says, "Hey, are you wearing an Aura watch to connect your fucking data?" And he says,
And he's not even a millennial.
"Currently, I'm not collecting any data, but I have collected the data in the past, and I am sure this is what's going on." It's like watching two robots talk, right? It's like, mate, like, how about you just feel yourself and you
This
say,
is the age we're living in.
and I feel good when I do it. Like that's how normal people talk, Tim. All right, and then like we're going on this whole thing about I don't know, just the whole premise of it just strikes me like I don't know, like maybe like read the global news or
Well, it's part of this whole we trust the experts and we outsource our thinking and our beliefs to people who like know better and machines that know better and all that instead of like observing our life and trusting our intuition and noting how we feel and being kind of self-sufficient in this data gathering thing about our own selves,
Yeah, that's part. And but you raised a great point while we were listening to this, which maybe you couldn't hear very well was that it's also psychological.
Yes.
And I had a very recent experience with this myself, which was so you might not know watching, but I had a very serious accident recently and fell from more than 60 feet high, broke my arm and broke my leg. Lucky to be alive, really. And getting better is a slow process, and so it's taken
Especially bones take a long time to heal.
yeah, much longer than I imagine myself taking. But you have to just constantly adjust your your unrealistic expectations of yourself or of others and just replace them with reality. And and so, you know, I went from being in a wheelchair to using crutches to now just using a cane. And in the midst of that process, you know, something that I've come to see in myself, which I was very surprised at. Actually, not just once, but 3 times now, I've caught myself in this mental loop, trap, that where I think I need the cane, and the cane becomes this, like, oh, if the cane slips, I'm gonna fall. If the cane slips, and like, you sort of work yourself into this thing where you think that this cane is you and that you are dependent upon it.
Can't live without it.
Yeah, and you know, like, I think it takes a little bit of mental clearing in yourself to catch those absurd thoughts and not allow yourself to get further invested in
Limiting thoughts.
Yeah, so disempowering and also debilitating, right? Because it's like you then think, oh, it's raining outside and I can't go out, because now you have this new narrative in your head about a fucking cane, because you
Afraid
think
of the rain.
Right, you think you need the cane, and I see a lot of that here with Tim, where it seems like this idea of him and coffee, like, bro, like,
It's just coffee.
it's just some fucking coffee, man. Like, just don't drink it. Like, you know,
Drink it, don't drink it, but yeah.
it's like,
Quit whining.
if it's so fucking problematic for you, just quit. Are you addicted? You don't have the ability to cure yourself of being addicted to some fucking caffeine, mate? Like, come on. Like, you're better than that. Of course you can just stop drinking some coffee, caffeine, if you need to. Like, what are you trying to say? You know what I mean? Like, I mean, but it's there, right? Like, do you see that same thing? Which is like, okay, you know, good.
I do see it. You might be being a little harsh on the dude, but I do see it.
Sorry, man.
Down, boy.
Yeah, but you know, like, you know what I think it is in his particular instance, you know, because a lot of times I really feel a lot of compassion for people in their self-debilitation, right? Like, I feel compassion for people often in that area, but there's something just that doesn't seem completely sincere about Tim. Maybe it's that he talks about himself as Tim and says Tim's baseline, and Tim's baseline's pretty good.
Tim went on a 1-month detox.
Tim likes to fuck, right? Like, it's just a weird thing to talk about yourself in the third person like that. And
They had a Seinfeld episode about that. That was pretty good.
was there?
Yeah. I forget who it was.
And was it deemed to be fucking weird?
Yes,
Because it seems
very.
pretty fucking weird.
Very.
And like, so maybe that's the block in myself where I'm having trouble having compassion for somebody who.
If anybody knows which Seinfeld, put it in the comments.
Oh,
So we don't have to look it up.
right. Help a guy out. Yeah, cool. Well, great insights there. I enjoyed it. I hope we do. Let's do another episode on detox with some videos of somebody who actually knows what they're talking about, and then see what we get.
Okay.
All right, bye.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us. Remember to like and subscribe,
All right.
and
Yeah,
we really appreciate you being here.
Yeah. Thanks. Appreciate
Okay.
it.
Bye.
Bye.